you know what surprises me more than anything, Rahim, if I'm going to be honest, that more people are not doing this. And that more people, that there's a lot of people that are quite apprehensive about doing it because they think that there's almost like a default setting where you say property expensive. Dedicated and concentrated enough on what it is that you're doing, you'll pick things up along the way, and everything that it is that you pick up along the way is what it is that will carry you through the journey, one phase to another, to another, to another, and feel very fortunate to have met you and to have you as a mentor. I'll just add this part in. This is the part that made me the most nervous.
Okay.
Over all of the processes, this was the one that made me, because this is the end goal now.
Yeah, correct.
Let me not lie to you. My mortgage broker sent me an email with a valuation on there. And when I looked down and I looked at the number, and I said to myself, no,
It's a mistake.
I don't know. And I started jumping up.
So thanks very much for showing us around, bro.
That's all right,
really,
no
really
problem.
appreciate it. So before we talk about the figures, I wanted to ask you a very kind of personal question. It's not too personal, but
yeah.
Why do you decided to go into a property after there's so many businesses out there, if you get what I mean, so many business adventures, but why choose property? Why property was the thing you wanted to do?
I think it's more so for generational wealth.
Okay.
You know, I think that property as an asset is something that you're never going to really lose. If you're sensible anyway, you're never going to lose it. And it's something that you will always be able to hand down from generation to generation to generation.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason behind it, because I'm a parent, and obviously I want to make sure that my child is as financially secure as he possibly can be throughout his life, and then on for when he has children, the same thing. So this just felt like crypto and all that kind of stuff and trading, it's kind of like, I do see and know people that are making good money from that as well, but for me it's a bit too volatile.
Yeah.
And then when doing research and kind of looking at the property market, obviously looking from the outside because I hadn't started at that point, everything that I started to see about it was matching what it was that I wanted to do or where I wanted to be. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. And then I've been encouraged by my mum as well
bless her,
for so long. Like she's been encouraging me to do property for years upon years, but I was caught up in different careers and wasn't really concentrating on that at the time. And then since I kind of moved from London back to Birmingham and then started to see what she wanted to do with her own property, it then started to make me think, actually, yeah, okay, cool, let's go for this, and you know, that's kind of taken us to where we are now. Wow,
brilliant. Well, welcome and well done, fan, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Okay.
But what was that trigger point? Because for me, I had a trigger. Trigger was what gets me to do properties. So what was that one thing that makes you feel like, you know what, I really want to do property, or I really want to do this?
Couple of things, I think. One, let's go back to my mum, because this is something that she's been doing for a while. She's already got other properties that she's done like buy-to-lets with. Because she's been encouraging me to do this for so long, I always, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to give it my all. And I won't stop until, I'll get over every hurdle, every barrier that comes, and I will get to the destination that I want to be at. So her encouraging me to do this gave me even more encouragement to put more into it, because it's something that I'm doing with one of the closest people to me in the world. So it was very, very important to try and not just start it and pick it up and then put it down because it's got a little bit tough or something's happened and you kind of derailed or anything. So that was one of the reasons. And then, as I says, the generational wealth thing was really important. And I think, for the rest of my time here on this earth, I want to be in a position where I've got a passive income coming in, and I also want to be in a position where I don't have to like, this is like, no offense to anybody that does that, because we all have to do different things to get by in life, but I don't want to be in the position myself personally where I've got to clock in and I've got to clock out, and I've got to go and say to my boss, I'm sorry that I'm late, blah 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 blah, or can I go for my lunch break now, or can I take holiday time off here or there or whatever. I want to have that kind of freedom to say, right, I've got my businesses, they're all kind of automated, they do what it is they're doing, they passively bring me an income. I'm now in the Bahamas and I'm just kicking back or whatever, and I can still work and do what it is that I'm doing, but it's more on my terms than it is me making somebody else's money for them and them paying me, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
That's the position, and again, that was enough of a drive for me. So at the age that I'm at now, that's the kind of lifestyle that it is that I want to live.
I hear you, bro. It makes perfect sense, and that's what property does for you. Basically, it makes you financially independent, and it also makes you want to do what I just said. Basically, you don't have to actively work in order to make money, and that was one of my trigger points as well, to be honest. I hated to say hello to answering to people or asking when I could go on holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
So often, because you can only go for 2 weeks.
Right.
2 weeks, end of.
Yeah.
And then checking your timesheet to make sure you're clocking in the right time. For me, it was a really painful situation for me. So I get that, man. It makes really sense. And you're smashing it already.
Thank you.
So let's look at this property now. I know we bought this property in October.
Yeah.
And could you take us back on how you're able to secure this property and what draws you to this property?
So I was doing a lot of research. What I'd done, in fact, let me go right back to the beginning. So obviously I was looking at areas that I could invest in.
Yeah.
I live in Birmingham. This property is not too far from there. So I kind of got to a kind of a happy place where it's like, if I need to travel to here, it's not going to take me that long. So I kind of scoped the area out. I looked at least about 15 different properties before I actually put down an offer on any of them. When I came to this one, and I remember the estate agent walking me through and telling me about the amenities, and because this is a central location. Yeah. So it's a one postcode.
Okay, good.
So I thought, you know what, this really kind of like, this is what I'm looking for. And then outside you've got a park, she's got a massive lake. And I remember when I came here originally, which must have been maybe August, and I looked outside the front window, and it was a bright sunny day, and I looked over and I was like, oh, this looks nice. So I said, you know what, this is the one that I want to go for. When I looked at, obviously I've got the eye now where I can kind of go into a property and see what it is that needs to be done and how it can work for what it is that I need it for. So when I came here, and obviously we've seen that was a sitting room, and I thought to myself, no, we could change that into a bedroom. You know, and all the different things that it is that we can do to it, this could work for me. So once I kind of convinced myself that this is the one that I want to go for, went and then put the offer down on it. It was a pre-auction property. So it was about to go for auction. I put an offer in before it went for auction. The offer was accepted. I called you. Yeah, you did. So Rahim, guess what? They've accepted the offer. And then we just went through the motions of kind of having the solicitor in place, getting the finances together, and completed not long after putting in the offer. Yeah,
I remember that. And what we did before the offer was accepted, also we went through and reanalyzed the deal. I know you particularly wanted to look at the figures properly.
Yeah, to make sure.
And then we looked at the figures. We said, you know what, it's a no-brainer. The property was undervalued in the first place anyways, and we've bought a pre-auction, which is another advantage for us as well. And at that time, people were panicking as well, not sure property is going to sell and all that sort of thing. So I like that. And you were very particular with the figures as well. You're like, Rahim, are you sure? It's like, yes, you put the offers. When the offer was accepted, we reanalyzed the deal again.
Yes, it
just
did.
To make sure,
we did.
We reanalyzed it just to make sure that we were bang on the figures. So you secured the property now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Walk us through then on securing the builders first, because I think I was here the first day or the couple of days after your sourcing builders.
Yeah.
And how are you able to get your builders? I don't need you to explain everything to you. In a brief summary, how were we able to kind of come to which builders we need to work with?
So social media, I think, is really good for kind of finding different connections. But then obviously you've got to be able to vet those people and try and find out as much about them as you possibly can, their company, how long their company has been running for, look at reviews, all that type of thing, just to kind of give you a reassurance of who it is that you're working with are going to supply what it is that you need from them. But on this one in particular, believe it or not, it was a next door neighbor that I had when I was about 6 or 7 that I lost contact with. By the time that he got to about 10, I think he moved. We're still friends on Facebook. So I realised that he was in the same city of where the property that I've been looking at. I says to him just out of the blue, I says, do you know any builders or anything like that? And he says, yeah, I've got one. And I thought, you know what? I'd be happier to use someone that comes with a recommendation from someone that I know. So then I ended up meeting with that builder, told them what it is that needed to be done. They gave me a quote. I was happy with the quote. They gave me a time frame of how long it would take them to get the works done. I was happy with that as well. So from the other quotes that it is that I hadn't, you know, some of them were actually ridiculous. Like, I mean, some of them were like triple the amount of price, and there was just like crazy prices. However, this one was more realistic, more within budget. So I agreed, and then got him to start the work. Yeah,
so I remember witness you having about 3 or 4 builders here looking at the job, and it's all about shortlisting the right person, and it's difficult sometimes to know who the right person is. And,
very much so, yeah.
So it's difficult to say, to know, and it's all about gauging the rapport you may be able to build with that person, because sometimes you may be thinking, oh, I want to go for the cheaper price, but the cheaper price doesn't normally get you to what you want to do. You get what you paid for.
Absolutely.
It's all about the relationship building skills. So now you've got the builder. The builder is about to start the works. How did we get on to getting all these materials? Because some of you thinking, what is going on here? How do I get all this together?
What do you mean, all the woodwork and all that?
The woodwork, right. The architraves, the doors.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff, to be fair, because I'd renovated my mum's house before, I had a little bit more of an idea about what was needed. And I'm very inquisitive, so I will always ask loads of questions, especially when I'm doing something new. And I remember when I was speaking to some of the builders that I was working with before, they were saying, when you do this, supply your own materials. You know, don't have it where it's kind of like an overall price with the builder. Just get their labor price from them, and then you'll supply the materials. So I was like, okay. So then it was about finding all of the trade merchants, and then like having trade accounts with them. So the Howdens and what have you, and then working out what it was that was needed from the builder, and then supplying it.
Yeah, I think you've done amazing on that, and you're a very good purchaser as well. I remember you ringing me. What do you think about that price?
Yeah, I'm getting better. I've got my flaws, but I'm getting better.
I think you've done really, really well. And so now talk us through the renovation cost. Right. I know you may not be able to give me the exact figures right now because I didn't ask you to bring that figures with you. So how much do you reckon we have invested in this in terms of renovation works? Right, rough figures.
Under 20,000.
Under 20. Wow. Under 20,000.
We've done it under 20,000. But a lot of that, to be fair, it's been shopping around. You know, the thing is that what I have learned, especially when it comes down to renovation figures, is that the more that you can do in advance, the better it is, because you've got the leeway time to be able to shop around and look, rather than, you know, if you're just buying things when you need it. So if you do it that way, then you don't have that much time, because your builder needs it when he needs it, and you can't turn around and say, oh, just give me one more week while I go and shop around. He's not going to be interested in that. So doing things in advance and trying to keep one step ahead of your builder will also keep your pockets a little bit lighter. So that's what it is that I did throughout the process.
It makes sense. So it's always good to order stuff in advance as well. It doesn't, you don't rush to get the materials, basically.
Right, exactly.
It helps you that way, and having trades account also help.
Yeah.
So now we've done the property, the work has been done. and you've done absolutely amazing. And we're setting this property up as a holiday let. Now, well done for doing that, thinking outside of the box. But what draws I know I work with you, but what draws your attention to do it as a holiday let instead of renting it to a normal tenant?
I think it's the best way to maximize your income. I think that, again, look, I mean, it's risk averse, isn't it? So it just depends on how much risk you're willing to take, and how much fruit you want to get from your labor. So I look at it in the sense of that I could rent this out to a family, and make £250, maybe £300 a month. Or I could do this as short-term let, and make that £300 in 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got 31 days per month.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't even need to do the maths. When you kind of look at it from that sense that really I've only got to fill this place for 1 week out of the month. Yeah.
And then
the rest, the other 3 weeks,
it's all profit.
It's profit.
Right.
So rather than, and that's not even, you got to fill it for 2 weeks out of the month, and the other 2 weeks it's like, you know, you're way over into the profit margin than you are the deficit. So that was the kind of thing that I kind of looked at and I thought, you know, because of the area, and the amenities, everything that's close by here, that there's a massive attraction here that a lot of people come from all over the country to come to.
All over the world, you mean?
All over the world, in fact, yeah, you're right. So with bearing that in mind, it just thought, you know what, yeah, doing this as a holiday let, this is how we're going to maximize our income.
Yeah, I like that as well. Not just that, and with doing it as what you're doing it as a holiday let, you don't have problem with tenant, right? Not paying you your rent or ringing you, making excuses, saying, "Oh, sorry, I cannot afford it this month. Can I have extra days?"
Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
And you've got complete control of the property. You can literally come in, open the door, see what's happening to your property, and if anything goes wrong, right, you get to know instantly, and you can go and fix it. Straight away. If it's rented as well, you'd have to book an appointment, 24 hours notice.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. If I want to stay here myself,
exactly.
You know, if I want to, you know, get again some of the fruits from my own labor. If I wanted to stay here myself, then I can. Do you know what I mean? For a week or whatever I choose.
Yeah,
you know?
You've got that benefit. Got the flexibility. Well. You know, it's a very good benefit to get as well. And then obviously, then you've got that peace of mind knowing your property would be like a show home.
Yes.
Right? Whilst making ridiculous return on your investment. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the remortgage part of things.
Right, okay.
And I understand we just remortgaged the property.
We have.
And we were expecting it to come in from certain figures.
Yeah.
And could you take us back on how much this property was, how much we bought it at?
Yeah.
Right? You might not know the exact figure.
Yeah.
And how much, after doing all this amazing work, how much the property come back at?
Okay. So I'll just add this part in. This is the part that made me the most nervous.
Okay.
Over all of the processes, this was the one that made me, because this is the end goal now.
Yeah, correct.
And this is all of the work that it is that's put in now is at the mercy of whatever that price comes back, which you can't control.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, when the valuer comes and they do what they do and they don't say very much to you, you don't know what they're thinking or whatever, and then you don't know what figure it is that's going to come back. But to start off with, so the property was around in the 70,000 mark.
Okay, yeah.
When we analysed this, we put down a fair market value of what we thought would be around anything between 115 to 120.
Yeah.
Had the valuation done, and I was pleasantly surprised that it came back over 130,000.
Boom. Boom.
Which, let me not lie to you, when I had, how did I find out? So my mortgage broker sent me an email with a valuation on there. And when I looked down and I looked at the number and I said to myself, no.
It's a mistake.
Oh no. And I started jumping up. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Because as I said, it's the nerve-wracking part of not knowing what it's going to come back. You've got your ideas because you've analysed it and you know what you're expecting, but you don't know how close to that mark you're going to be because it's an estimate that you've got in your head and what you've analysed from other properties around the area and so forth. But then when that came back, and then I sent the email to the mortgage broker and I says, is this right? Is that the actual figure? And he says, yeah, that's the actual figure. And then I sent you a message as well. And I was kind of like, we got the valuation figures back. And I was like, oh, I'm so happy. It's kind of like it was, that's probably the most heartwarming feeling that I've had so far, over the feelings of walking into the property and seeing all the developments with the refurb, which is a very nice feeling as well. But that one there, was probably, it was. That was the one.
I think it was. When you rang me, I was thinking, what is he going to tell me? Like, then you go like, Rahim, guess what? It comes back. You were not sure whether it was the right thing as well.
Because it was almost like it was too good to be true. Because it's kind of like, hold on a minute. So it's kind
over
of
£135,000. You're like, yeah. I was like, you really sure? And then I was like, boom. Yeah. I was so excited. It was a Friday.
Yeah, it was.
And that was one of my best Fridays. I was celebrating. Yeah. I was driving out with my car. I was like, yes, we smashed it. Yeah, so what that means basically is you've bought a house. Right, you renovated it by adding value to it. Yeah. You remortgaged it and you're able to recycle all your investment out. Absolutely. Right? You pull all your money out. You've got yourself a free house. Right?
Not only pulled it out, but pulled it out
with some cash in it.
With some, so it's
literally, I think you got about £3,000 or £5,000 to spare, isn't it? Like,
exactly.
Literally, pull all the investment out plus £5,000, £5,000 plus, I think it is.
Yeah.
So it is like, you've pulled your money, you've got the £5,000 extra, maybe more than £5,000, and you're going to add that on top of your investment, and you're going to go again and buy more properties.
Absolutely.
Right? Smash it, bro.
Now I understand exactly about the whole BRRR strategy and how it works and what it is that you're trying to achieve off the back of it, because it now means that we don't have to subsidize out of our own pocket to go and do this again.
No.
And it also means that now I can be even more stringent when it comes down to budgeting.
Correct.
And making sure that the money that it is that we've got there is all the money that we use. Because again, that money has got to go from another property into another property, into another property, and just keep on going.
Rolling it over.
Until it gets to the point where we've made all the money that we once put in from the income that we've got from the rental income side of the property, that then has gone past the amount that we put in, which then means at that point we're not even using our own money at this point anymore. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see where
so it means now we've actually taken out so much money that first initial investment has now been recouped.
Wow, I like that. Yeah. I like what you're doing. So with this property, right? Literally, you got your ROI figure.
Yes.
Your ROI in this is infinity.
Yes.
Because you've put all the investment out.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else you need to wait for to get your money out.
No.
Right? So it is really an infinity return on the investment, and also it's a free house. Right? Literally it's a free house because you got your money back.
Right.
And now take me back then. Now we've done this property as a holiday let. Right? You've pulled all your money out.
Yep.
Now you're doing it as a holiday let. Tell me roughly how much do we expect to make a month in this property that you've already pulled all your investment out?
I would say at a minimum we're looking anything between 1,500 to £2,000 a month.
Boom.
At least.
Wow, that's crazy, bro. You've got your money out, you're making £2,000 a month, right? Which is even enough in about maybe 12 months time to get another 24k to go again and buy it. Right? Literally, you've got your money, you've pulled that out, you've got that 24k coming in, and then guess what? You're going to go and add that in and then invest again. So you've done really well. I think what you've done here deserves a massive compliment and appreciation, because why? You're very tight on your figures. You really kept on the figures. And I was impressed how much you've invested here in terms of renovation works. You saved lots of money from it. And now you've got this property here generating about 2k a month, roughly, because I think it'll go more than that. But it's good. Yeah. It's good. It's a minimum of that. And now you've got another property already that you nearly finished,
Yeah,
right? And you're going to be doing the same thing.
9% done, more or less. Yeah.
So you've got that as well, bro. You've done amazing. You've done really, really, really well. And I'm really, really proud of what you've achieved.
I mean, I said this before in the first video that we've done, that, you know, a student is only as good as his teacher.
No, well done, bro. I think you've done well as well.
Thank you.
One more thing I wanted to ask you is, for those people who thinks you need lots of money to start your property investment, what message do you have for those people?
Not really. I mean, look, there's a couple of ways. Because again, before even meeting yourself, and when I said before that I'd looked at loads of videos and kind of went to seminars and, you know, really immersed myself into the property world. You can obviously do this in a much cheaper, quicker way than the way that I've done it. Mm-hmm. So you could do this if, say for example, I'm the landlord and I would want residual income from the property, and you're looking for a property. You turn around to me and say, right, I'll take this property off you for a certain amount of time and I'll give you this amount of money for it per month. I might turn around and say, yeah, cool, no problem. And then all you got to do then is furnish it, which is, in my opinion, a lot lower level in terms of figures to get yourself started. Mm-hmm. And then if you did that times 5,
you're laughing.
Yeah. Before you know it, you know, and obviously you take it at your own pace. Mm-hmm. You kind of learn what it is that you learned from the first one, and whatever mistakes you made or whatever things that you say, yeah, I want to continue to keep doing that because it was good for me. Mm-hmm. And you do that, and then before you know it, your portfolio. Yeah. But obviously I wanted capital appreciation from the properties as well. So I not only wanted to gain from the passive income from the rental side of it, but I also wanted, when the property goes up in value, and like I said before, is something that's generational, that, you know, when my son's older and he turns around and he's got all these properties in his name and he says, I want to do this with it now, I want to do that with it, then he's got the opportunity to do so, rather than it being where I've only got a property for 4 or 5 years or whatever, and then I've got to hand it back or renew the tenancy agreement, the lease agreement that it is that you've got with the landlord. I wanted the ownership, but I will also do rent to rents as well.
Correct.
So I will not only just have, so I'll have a mixture of properties that we own, properties that it is that we lease, because I just think the rent to rent model. Do you know what surprises me more than anything, Rahim, if I'm going to be honest? That more people are not doing this. And that more people, that there's a lot of people that are quite apprehensive about doing it because they think that there's almost like a default setting where you say property expensive. Property risk. Property,
that's what lots of people think, aren't they? They think you need lots of money, ridiculous amount of money to do start your investment.
But
which, to me, now you know, it's all about knowing what you want first thing, and it's about educating yourself, right, which you're very good at. That's what I was telling Baba just now in the car. I said what you're very good at is implementing. I remember whatever I literally ask you to do, you're gonna smash it. You literally go instantly. When I told you, bro, you're going to look at 50 to 100 properties before you get one. You're like, bro, I'm ready for it. Right? You're literally going out there looking for this. You literally implement it. That then gets you to understand it's not about the money. And then once we've got the properties, guess what? You're able to raise the money, aren't you?
That's right.
And guess what? You raise the money from a very close family friend. Like your mom was like, okay, if you can do this, I'm happy to support you. And she supported you, and look where we are now. And she must be delighted to be able to get her money back.
Exactly.
And again, she's going to give that money back to you so you can roll it back on. So to me, it's not about the money. You actually nailed that. You nailed that answer. And there's lots of opportunities, property strategies out there as well that don't require you to actually buy a house to do what you're doing now. That's which, as I said, some people are a bit really resilient, thinking, or reluctant, the word I was going to use, and that they think it's too good to be true, or maybe it's too expensive, or they just don't want to learn and understand how to do. Or when they try 1, 2, 3 times, it did not work. They think, oh, this is too hard, I'm not going to do it, and then end up doing stuff that they don't want to do. So I really, really like that. I like the idea of you thinking that, and you've now know it's not money, it's all about implementation, learning about, if you got a good deal, the money would follow the good deal.
Yes, right. That's right.
It would always follow the good deal.
That's right.
So what advice do you have for the people who thinks they're too busy and property is full-time job? What advice do you have for those people?
it can be full time. It can be as full time as you want it to be, or it can be as passive as you want to be. That like your time is your time, and how you distribute your time is completely down to you. So it doesn't have to be something where it takes up all your time. You might have a 9 to 5 that you do Monday to Friday, or you might work shifts or whatever it is, but you can still do this and automate it in a way where you don't have to put all of the hours into it, but there's people that you kind of give roles to that do things for you. So in this case, where you have a cleaner, or you might decide that you run a management company that kind of manage the property for you, so then it's more hands off for you, and you don't, all you've got to do then is just liaise with the management company, not even liaise with the cleaner. They'll do all of that for you. So you know, and then you just got to basically check your bank account just to make sure that your money's been coming through, and you're good. So there's different ways of doing it, but I think that, because I was a little bit, not apprehensive, but I was quite curious in terms of how it works, in terms of how much time is this going to take from me, what other things can I also do whilst I'm doing this. And when I started to realise what type of commitment level that it was that I wanted to apply to this, I said to myself, I want to do this full time. I want this to be my day-to-day, like what it is that I do, or the majority of what it is that I do each day. And so far, it's getting easier.
Yeah, because you said you wanted to be a property investor. I understand that as well. But even if you do, maybe where you're going to work a little bit is when we're renovating the property, because you have to buy materials, you have to check
and that's the part that's quite intense.
But once you've done it now, like this property now, we have registered it online, we've done all the stuff we're supposed to do, we've got the cleaners, we've got all the people we need. Now this can run without you.
Exactly.
Right, it's literally, it is on autopilot now. Once you've got the stuff that you need to kind of sort out today, and that's it. Right, and it forces you to actually automate it as well, especially if you're in the local area. So that's what you've done now. So basically, you're doing absolutely amazing. You're on your third property. I cannot wait to see the property in Swansea as well. So yeah, £2,000 a month. That's an amazing thing. Pulling all your investment out. I've literally you've absolutely smashed it, bro. And
thank you.
I would say you've done amazing. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
And your mom couldn't be prouder, because your mom was like, "Oh, is it gonna really happen?" And she was worried about it. So that's the reason I said I'm going to come back and see the property, because I wanted to see what the end product is. And you've done amazing and really, really well done. And I really look forward to working with you in so many more properties.
Yeah, man, this is just the start. Thank you very much. And as I said before, you know, you've been a man of your word. You've been someone that I think in this game as well, it's quite hard to be able to trust people, because everyone talks a good game. This is one thing I've noticed about property. Everyone talks a good game. Everyone talks the highest, the most about this, that. And then delivery-wise, it's kind of like it doesn't really match. And since we've been working with each other, it's been very consistent. I think that what it is that we've been doing has kept going. And even now, like when now this is going, saying, right, next one, let's go. Let's keep going. Do you know what I mean? So that type of encouragement as well is good for me, because it reinforces my drive. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that, you know, as we said before, we all need that kind of like something to help keep us focused and keep us driven. And sometimes we also need words of encouragement as well from people that it is that we trust the words that come out of their mouth. And you've done that, and you've managed to stay true to what it is that you said you was going to deliver from the get-go. And now look where we are. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like, you know, you said we was going to do something, and then months down the line, it's kind of like, well, we still haven't done this yet. Like, you know, we're on to our third property in less than a year.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's mind-blowing, and it's like I'm enjoying this more and more as we go along, because I'm picking up more. So I'm learning things along the journey. So I'm kind of saying to myself now, okay, now I know how this works. Now I know how to deal with these type of problems, or these are the type of things that it is that I need to look for in a house if I come and it's empty and it needs work. Because there's certain things that it is that you might oversee, or you might not realize and it might be too late. But there's now things that I've realized where it's kind of like, right, I need to check for this, I need to check for that, I need to check for this. And, you know, so I've got all of these things. And then even when it comes down to the listings and things like that, when we're putting them onto whatever platform, of the things that it is that you need to go through, and how stringent you need to be with those type of things. So there's a lot to do, So I would never, like, again, in terms of advice to people, I would never say that this is the easiest thing to do. But I think if you're dedicated and concentrated enough on what it is that you're doing, you'll pick things up along the way. And everything that it is that you pick up along the way is what it is that will carry you through the journey throughout one phase to another, to another, to another. And yeah, I'm just really excited and feel very fortunate to have met you and to have you as a mentor and to have you as someone that delivers on their words. So thank you.
Thank you, bro. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.